Welcome to You Only Live Twice, and that's our channel. It's a channel dedicated for people that wants to learn from people's mistake, and so we don't duplicate their mistake, and we can have a better life. So today's subject will be about negative people. What drives them to become negative? Why are they so negative? First of all, who are those negative people? You probably came across a few of them, but you forgot about them because you just ignore them because you don't want them to bother your life or your lifestyle or your thinking or change your mood. So we kind of just put them on the side and just forget about them, and we just move on forward with our lives. But sometimes we're not that lucky where we can brush them aside. Some of them are our friends, some of them are our relatives, and some of them are our coworkers. So sometimes you have limited options to stay away from negative people. So let's talk about what negative people do. Let me cite you guys some example. Let's pretend somebody bought a V8 Tundra. A negative person would say something like, "Look at that fool. He bought himself a V8 truck. He can't even afford gas to fill up his gas tank. The gas right now is so high." So that's an example. Another one would be, yeah, he got that job, but he's going to get fired soon. So anything that's good that happens to a person, the negative person will think of a way to say negative about that person. Instead of saying something nice or thinking about something beautiful about what's happening to the other person, they would just focus on just talking crap. That's what negative people do. They just talk crap. But they'll never talk crap about themselves. So they're hypocrite. They don't think about or talk about themselves and their faults and their shortcomings, but they're quickly to point out somebody else's shortcomings. So negative people are some of the most draining people to be around. And for the most part, we can avoid these people, but you can't be lucky all the time. Sometimes they're just in your face. So sometimes we attempt to try to coach people that are negative, hoping maybe you can turn their behavior around, but this rarely works because as many negative people, they're stuck in this behavior. Maybe if they can get a professional help, maybe I'll change them. But yeah, that's difficult to do because once they're a negative thinker, they're stuck in their ways. So, but is there hope for negative thinkers and change their way of thinking? Well, there are times when coaching can help someone who's negative, but you got to find a time when that negative person is open for constructive feedback and they're willing to accept and listen to what you have to say. And that can happen when they're willing to accept and understand that their behavior is not really, how do I say, the behavior is not really a pleasant behavior. And once they realize it's not a pleasant behavior, then it's a step forward, one foot forward to changing them. But it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time to change a person like that. Because if we find out their background, excuse me, most of them, they're raised that way. If you actually dig into their background, why they are so negative about stuff and why they talk a lot of crap about the success of other people, is if you dig down to their past, they're actually exposed to negativity at a very early age in their life. That's where it all began. Children raised in an environment where pessimism, doom and gloom, negative are common and will end up having that map inside their brains. So as a child being raised in pessimistic environment, it creates like a freeway structure in their brain, and it becomes like a map, like a roadway. And then as they grow older, that's the way they think. You got to be negative, and that's the only way to survive in this world. And I don't think they're happy of their own behavior, but it's autonomic reflexes. When they see somebody successful, they don't mean to be jealous, but because they're raised to be negative all the time, so their common reaction is just to be negative about it. But do they feel happy about what they have said or how they behave? I don't believe so. I know when they go home to their own house, they're thinking about what they did wrong, but they just can't help it. So they're pretty much unaware of the behavior of what they're portraying unless someone points it out at the right time, at the right moment when they're able to accept constructive criticism. Then that's the time they can step back and eventually start learning the proper way and get away from being a negative person. Because it's not their fault that they grew up in a pessimistic environment. That's the way their brain was formulated. And you will notice these negative people, they cannot think outside the box because they're always negative. Being negative, it prevents them from thinking rational. It prevents them to be innovative. It prevents them to think outside the box and create and build something. They're stuck in their ways, and what they know is the only way. They're hard-headed. And then they ask themselves, why is my life so hard? But they can't figure it out because their brain has already developed the freeway system, which is just a two-lane freeway system. So it's always a blockage. There's always traffic in their brain cells. So they cannot really think as fast. But they can only think about what they can say negative about the successful person. They can never say, wow, that person is doing good. I would like to be doing the same thing. I want to be successful like the other person. They can't think like that. That programming in the brain, that's gone. It needs to be reactivated, but it's almost nearly impossible to change a person like that because it was already developed as a child. And when they get older, they're stuck in their ways. It's similar to like a crab mentality. You can't, you can never say can't, but it's very impossible to change a person who's a crab mentally ill person to become more helpful person because they're insecure. Now, if you look up the word insecure in the dictionary, you're gonna find something like words that might even describe some of your friends, relatives, coworkers, or people that you have met. And it would explain why they act the way they act. But just because you could explain why they act how they act, it doesn't make it right. So there you go, guys. You only live twice. Let's make it right, guys. If you're negative all the time, try to understand and change. Because the first step of changing is understanding what you're doing wrong. Once you know that you're wrong, the next step is, what step should I take to start doing something right? And then once you find that steps of doing something right, you just keep at it. And the practice, perfect practice makes perfect. So the more you do it, the better you become at it. So if you practice negativity, you become an expert in negativity, and it will ruin your future and your life. And you will grow up to be an old man retired that is so bitter. Or you could change that around midstream and become fruitful. You become helpful. You become a person who looks at a cup half full, and you don't no longer use negative words. You always think about the positive, and that positive thinking bears fruit. And then as you get older, you will enjoy life better. Life looks so good. It doesn't look so gloomy anymore or so grim. And you as an old person, you're not going to be bitter. You're going to enjoy your retirement, whatever retirement plan you guys have. So guys, we're going to cut it short for now. And I want to thank you guys for joining me on this new channel called You Only Live Twice, but you only have one back. So I hope this video has become an entertainment for you guys, and also something just to ponder upon. Okay, until next time for the next video, guys. Have a great day. And once again, this is Coach Fred, and I'm here on this channel.